Good morning, CUCC. How are you all doing? My name is Devin Moore. I am the principal at Hart Lewis Elementary School. Sorry I'm not able to join you all in person. As you all are aware, school has started, and so we are well on our way to ensure that our students are getting what they need from us in person, in seat. What I did want to have the opportunity to talk to you all about, because we value our friendship so much, is just what does school look like right now? We know that our public hasn't had the opportunity to be in person or to come into our buildings and see what school is and see some of the things that are going on. And as our partner friends, we just feel like it is paramount that we give you sort of a glimpse of what are some of the things that are taking place at Alpha. So what I've put together for you all today is a quick slide that allows us to just talk through what are some things that when we do have the ability to open our doors, what are some things that you'll see? I'll talk a little bit about our mission and vision, who we are and what we believe in. And hopefully at some point in time, you all get that opportunity to ask us questions specific to the friendship. We are greatly appreciative of all the things that have been done, from the promotion of our events and our fundraising to the contributions that you've given to our children. We have children who are currently utilizing those contributions as we speak. And so I just want to say, just from the bottom of our hearts here at Hart, that we appreciate you, we're thankful, and we want to give you sort of a glimpse of what our building is like. So we put together a quick slide, my assistant principal, Kelly Eisenagle, and we just wanted to give you a glimpse of some of the things that will be taking place in our building. So I'm going to share my screen. And I'm hoping to get to, let's see. So sorry. I'm going to pull this up here. Love. Boom, technology. So I'm going to talk to you all a little bit about Hart Lewis in the 2020-2021 school year. Before we even start, I think that it's absolutely essential that we communicate what is our current, when we think of our mission and vision. So the vision of Hart Lewis Elementary School is to be one community growing lifelong learners and leaders. That is something that allows us to sort of hone in on what is our school actually about. We wanted to start with one community. More than ever in this 2020 COVID time, the being one community aspect of our work is critical. That means that our communication with our partners, our communication with our families, teachers' communication, administrator communication is of the paramount. We know that every action that we have and everything that we do is interconnected. And so being one community at its root for our children is something that we hold dear to our fabric. We believe that this is a part of who we should be before we can ever get to a point where learning becomes a lifelong thing for our children. So when we talk about growing lifelong learners and leaders specifically, I want to speak to, because we believe that leaders embody a lot of things, including leader of self. And so we want our children to know that, yes, there are leadership characteristics, and when individuals follow you, that is considered a leader. And you don't get the choice as to whether or not you become a leader. Being a leader is sort of predicated on the actions that people follow. And regardless of whether or not you want to be a leader or not, we try to instill in our children that leadership is something that is absolutely paramount, even if it's just for oneself. And so what does that mean when we talk about being a lifelong learner? That means that we want our children to enjoy it. So we know that as learning and as our communities and as our societies evolve, that our children will continuously be learners of that society, of the community. And we believe that that is absolutely important. And so that is our overarching vision. When we think about what our mission is to create a positive student-centered school community. Again, that's that word, community, that values each individual by empowering students with opportunities that ignite interest and cultivate capabilities. It sounds somewhat long, but I like to break this down. I think the very start of all of this is that we maintain a student-centered perspective. That means that our children have to come and our students have to come at the forefront of everything that we do. So when we are doing our work, we believe that it is essential that we ask ourselves and we ask our children, how would you feel if this were to take place in our school community? That is a direction and a value that we stand and hold true, because we believe that if our children enjoy it, if our children want it and they desire it, then they're into the system. That means that they want to be a part of that community and they want to do things in a manner that sort of embodies that leadership. The next component to this is, how do you ignite student interest? Now this one, from an adult framework, when we talk about it in our schools, this one is pretty unique in that it's not about what we as the adults find interesting. It's about how do we tap into things that our children find interesting and then spark that from the lens of education. I think one of the most trending things as of today, and some of you may have heard of it, is TikTok. And so we have children who are immersed in TikTok, immersed in YouTube, and our teachers have taken on those platforms to ensure that the interests of our children stay high. And so that's just one component of how do we ignite that interest. That means that we're meeting our students where they find interest, not just as an adult where we find interest. The next is cultivating capability. That aspect of cultivating capability is essentially just giving children the opportunity to do things. So much of our learning process has to be emergence. So we have to give our children the opportunity to actually go out, physically put their hands on items, and become one with the learning. And so the more opportunities we give our children to do that, we believe that the more we are actually cultivating their capacity and their capability of doing things. And so that's a quick rundown of our mission and vision. And we look forward to just continuing to spread what this mission and vision looks like from the lens of our hashtag Trusty Huskies. So when you look at hashtag Trusty Husky or hashtag Trusty Huskies, that is located on our Twitter accounts. And as we do work across our building and as we do events across our building, this is something that sort of highlights sort of a running record of the things that are taking place. So please be sure to follow us on Twitter. A little bit about where we are in school right now. We did our surveys just like any other school in our district. And so what we're currently looking at is approximately, this was a couple of weeks ago that we actually had these numbers updated, but as of today, we're up to 290 students in seat in front of us. This is reflecting 267. So we've had an influx. This just gives you an idea of where we are by grade level, where we are in our building in terms of just who's on virtual and who's on face-to-face learning. And so we navigate this and we continue to navigate this as things change. So this will be an ever-evolving number. So a little bit that we want to be able to talk to you all about is, what does the actual classroom environment look like? So from a classroom environment, these are just a couple of classrooms and how some teachers are taking an approach to how do we even start to do our social distancing. It is a little bit more complicated now that our board has made a decision to bring in all of our students in the K-5 environment. And so some of these pictures will reflect that change to the K-5 environment versus what we previously had from the lens of a full hybrid or NC. And so if you look on the left side of the image, you'll see sort of a spaced out classroom with a couple of balls at each table. That was going to be reflective of our hybrid model. So I just wanted to give you all that glimpse. The one on the right is more reflective of our current status. However, what our teachers are planning to do is work half classes at a time when we think about who's with our teacher doing some in-person, like the hands-on physical work aspect of it, and then others will be at their tables. And we think about breaking up stations. That is a part of what that classroom environment will look like. Again, try to make it look as close, like this is school. So we want it to be warm, we want it to be inviting, and we want our children to have the opportunity to really immerse themselves in an academic environment that is rich with learning. So these are a couple of images of what some of our classrooms look like during the process of this transition. Another feature, we talk about layers of protection often in our school building. And part of that layer of protection is including the social distancing signs. This just gives a visual reminder of, if we can give space, let's give space. Again, this was done in a manner that was looking at hybrid. And we still try to practice these same elements of safety and security, even with our full body. And so we know it's a little bit more complicated, but it still gives our children that opportunity to say, hey, you're a little close to me. Can we space out a little bit? So it is that gradual visual reminder across the building for our students. You'll also see at the top, you'll see some college pennants. We are at Avid Elementary School, and so we are the only Avid Elementary School in Columbia, Missouri. And that just means that we pride ourselves on thinking about college and career. It's not just about college for us, but we know that the more that we can provide a visual for a college going atmosphere for our children, the greater the chances they are to engage in college conversations. So that's why we do that. And we're leveraging a lot of our Avid work to ensure that our students catch up on learning, as well as sort of retain that learning over time. Another layer of protection that we have currently in our building as Huskies is hand sanitizing stations across our building. So we've installed these as an extra layer of protection for our children. So we have them down our main hallway. We also have them in our front office and down our downstairs hallway. So we've added approximately 6 to 8 of these just walking down our hallways to ensure that children have multiple opportunities to sanitize their hands. That's just another layer of protection. And again, we just feel like it's critical to remind our partners, our community at large, just what are some of the things that Alpha is doing to ensure safety and security for our children. One of those additional layers is getting our kids outside as often and as frequently as possible. So what we've done is we've added a couple of tents to our spacing between our building. And what this does is it allows us to actually use some outdoor learning spaces. Children get to take their mask break outside. They get to go out in these areas and just relax, read a book, and sort of decompress from all of the things internally when we think about being in our building. We'll continue to try to refine this process, especially as weather gets a little bit not welcoming to the outdoors. But we will always try to ensure that we have space outdoors for our children to be able to learn, as well as do some things from a PE lens. So we think just getting outside is going to be critical throughout this time. One thing I did not include in this slide is we're also adding a nature area to our school. And so that will be an amazing addition to come to our building that our children are absolutely excited about. Another element when we think about our layers of protection is our recess. What we've done is each classroom sort of has a designated zone for where they participate in recess. So we have our outdoor learning spaces, we have our PE location, and then we will also have zone 1, zone 2, and zone 3. This is just a breakdown of where classrooms go. So we have it set up for each classroom to have their own zone on a given day. This way, children get multiple opportunities to play across various areas of our playground, with also trying to maintain some stable grouping. And so that is another layer of protection that we currently have here at Alpha. We know that weather is going to be an issue for us. So what we have done is each of our teachers have been, we packaged a bag for each of them. And that individual material sort of goes in line with if we have to do indoor recess, what are some things that we can do? So we wanted to be extremely purposeful about doing it. And so we use this perceptual motor activities for children. And so it's an evidence-based practice for us to ensure that whatever we have our children doing, we do it with a purpose. This is about balancing the brain and also about getting our children to grow cognitively by doing some kinetic work. And so this is something that we're absolutely excited about integrating within our learning process and our indoor recess. And I think it's important to be able to share these things with our partners as well as our community at large. In addition, we know that one of the critical components of this is to ensure that we have the ability to navigate safety and security for our children. So we have a unique makeup in that we are built in a manner that allows us one additional classroom per class pod. Our pod structure is very unique. It is not like any other building in Columbia Public Schools. So when we think about our pod structure, what it allows us to do is to keep all of our second graders in the same location and provide support to our second graders in this one location. So we've designated a private nursing station next to each one of our classes. This way we don't have our second graders with our third graders and our third graders with our fourth graders. It's just another element of us trying to adhere to the stable grouping, as well as social distancing, so that we can use a larger classroom space to provide support for our children. And this is always support done with a nurse present. And so we hope to continue to be able to instill some of these practices for our building and for our children. A celebration, and I think this is my last one. One of the things that we wanted to do this year is really welcome our students back. So out in the front of our building, we had a welcome back Husky sign. As always, sort of staying true to our tradition as an avid elementary school, we always communicate what is the graduating class of our kindergarten students. So this year's graduating class of 2033, we wanted to welcome them their first days back in person. We're excited to have them, and we look forward to their continued success through high school graduation. So we want to make sure that we put an emphasis on that. That is a part of our AVID culture, and that we believe that graduating is one of the most critical things that we can do for our children, and support and encourage them to do. That is our Alpha Hart community in a nutshell. Again, I cannot wait to join you as our partner friends to continue celebration of the support for our children, and the things that we have the opportunity to do as a partner. Again, I want to thank you all. I'm so sorry that I'm not able to be in person. I look forward to the opportunity when I can be. In the meantime, go Huskies, and we appreciate everything you do for us at CUCC. Have a great day.